For this project, you will be drawing a pair of shoes from direct observation. You will begin with a piece of toned paper. The medium tone of the paper serves as the middle value when you are drawing. To make it lighter, you add white chalk. To make it darker, you use black charcoal. As you can see, I'm using a fairly light colored blue paper, so I'll mostly be using the charcoal to make it darker. One of the tricks to drawing from direct observation is to focus on shapes, and that's how you should begin this drawing. Try to think of the shoe merely in terms of its geometric shape and capture that on the paper. For this drawing, I'm drawing the shoes smaller than life size, but that's just for the sake of the video. In your assignment, you should draw the shoes at life size or slightly larger. Don't be afraid to use your eraser to make some revisions as you're going along. Almost no one is going to get the proportion exactly right at the first attempt, so it's absolutely a good thing to keep making changes, especially in the early stages of the drawing. Once you've identified the main shapes of the shoes, it's time to think about value. Remember that if you squint your eyes a little bit, it is easier to identify shapes of light and dark value. It also helps to pay attention to which direction the light is coming from, as this will inform where the light falls on the form of the shoe. For this example, I have a light off to the left of the shoes. So as I draw, you'll start noticing that the lights all come from that side, and the cast shadows all go off to the right side. As you're adding values, it can be useful to think in terms of layers. Perhaps the first time you put down some charcoal, it's not quite as dark as it needs to be by the end of the drawing. But if you keep squinting your eyes, looking at where the darkest shapes of charcoal are, or the darkest shapes of the shadows are, and then making sure the darkest shapes of charcoal correspond to those, each revision will get you a little bit closer to the drawing actually feeling complete. As you get closer to the end of the assignment, you can start paying attention to details. Tiny details like the logo on an athletic shoe, or the texture on a dressier shoe like the one I'm drawing here, can help the piece come alive and also contribute to making the piece feel complete. In addition, I think they're one of the most fun aspects of drawing shoes, since shoes tend to have some really interesting details. at the very end of the drawing. You're going to notice me pulling out my white chalk pencil and adding in some highlights. As I said at the very beginning, the white chalk pencil is essential for adding in the lightest values in the piece, since the blue of the paper does not represent the lightest values, but rather the middle values. Now, I'm going to be using the white pretty sparingly because the shoes I drew were a fairly dark color, red and black, and because the paper I drew on was a very pale color. But it's possible that some of you would be using the white a little bit more than I am here. That's it. Have fun and go draw some really cool shoes.